Welcome back. I hope that you've managed to get enough caffeine in you and you didn't think the coffee was too weak. I found it slightly weak. Yeah, it was tea. I wasn't sure. So the next session we have for you is talking about key elements of business planning. And we're going to have our two illustrious presenters talk about the key elements of business planning and then following on with a case study. Bjorn is coming back to talk to us about business planning and the more theoretical approach to business planning. And then I have the pleasure of presenting you Gopi, who currently is not in the room. But he's back in a minute, so I'll present him when he's back and after Bjorn's presentation. And he'll give us a case study from the Nyla Foundation and the Blue Yonder. So Bjorn, I leave it to you.
Oh, me again?
You again.
Okay. That's why it's in the plane so long. Okay, me again. The same voice, please don't get bored. Okay, we talk a little bit about business planning. So the first step is to have an idea. You have a good idea, you have a great idea of your product. You know a little bit your what you're going to sell. You have your unique selling proposition. You know what you want. You know who you want to target for, more or less, okay? But then the next step is to make a business plan. The business plan helps you to, it's always good to write down your ideas you have, and then you can realize it more because you have to be more rational. Sometimes we get carried away by our ideas and what we want to do. So the business plan is very good for you to just calm down and get a more rational idea of what you want to do. And then afterwards you can see also better, does it really work or does it not work? Also, sometimes, depending if we want to get money from outside, business plans are made for any product, and not only in tourism. If you want to attract like venture capitalists, or if you want to attract donors or so, it's also important to have a business plan. And the business plan is usually around 30 pages long, can be 5 pages less, can be 5 pages more. Should not be too long, too much. And you have to do it in a way that it's easy to understand for everyone. And because the person you send it to might not necessarily be able to talk to you directly in person and to ask you questions. And by doing like this, it really helps you to, just to be more rational about your ideas as well. Okay? So I'm talking about the business planning, but then I'm also, like when you write a business plan, what has to be inside, but then I'm talking also about the financial planning, just a little bit. Okay? You don't have to understand everything in detail. Because it might be sometimes for some of you a little bit boring, but why we're doing this is just to emphasize how important it is to have a plan and how important it is to do some financial plan, also for the long term. Okay, so whenever you start a business plan, you have to understand the bigger picture. Okay, like I said, you have your good idea, you have your great idea, but then you have to think about everything around it. A little bit, I talked about it when we talked about the ecotourism product. I talked about this in my presentation before. The bigger picture. Can be also arrival numbers, target market, USP, and so on. And you have to really decide to commit time, money, and effort. It takes a lot of time. A lot of effort. Sometimes it's easier just to have a stable job somewhere in an office, boring, but you might have to work a lot less and not over the weekends and so on. And then you make the business planning. You don't have to write down all the details, you can have the presentation later. You don't have to write down. Only if some added remarks, but the presentation you will get later. So, what's the purpose of your business? You have a vision of your business. You have to develop measurable goals. Where do I want to be in 6 months? Where do I want to be in 1 year? Where do I want to be in 2 years? And where do I want to be in 5 years or 10 years? Be realistic. Identify the activities needed and place the activities in proper sequence. So what do I have to do first? What do I have to do next? Similar to different case, but also what I said before in the first presentation. Don't try to do everything at the same time and think about everything at the same time. Do it step by step. Otherwise it gets too messy and too much. And then identify the resources. The resources can be human resources, money, time, and so on. So, I mean, you can also look on the web. There are a lot of information about how do I write a perfect business plan and so on. I just give you a summary. So first of all, you make the highlights of your business. That's what you write about first. So that's the thing on the first page. You talk about the executive summary, and this one is when somebody is reading it. For example, you have to think about, you want to convince someone to give you money to start building your business. So when the person is reading it, the first page, they read the executive summary, and if this one is not right, they will put it away immediately. And then afterwards you describe the company, you think about the competition, you make a SWOT analysis, like strengths, weakness, opportunities, threats. What's your unique selling point? We were talking about this before. Make a marketing plan. Gopi is talking about marketing later. And operations, daily functioning of your business. So how do you think you actually will run it on a daily basis? What's your business structure? Will you have a hierarchy? You have a flat structure? Or how you want to do it? You do it alone, you do it with partners. Key positions needed, skills needed, labor market, finances. I will talk about this separately. You need a financial statement, cash flow, balance sheet. And then sustainability, of course. Social and environmental sustainability, stakeholder involved. And contingency planning means if you will leave the business at some day, maybe you don't want to do it all your life, you have an idea who's coming next, or can also somebody else do it, if not you. This is not really super important, but might be also needed in a business plan. Okay, so again, to highlight for you that you don't have to do everything at once, I made this graphic with the different steps and the time frame you need. So the red one is that you focus on this period. And, you have the idea stage, the development stage, and the excellence stage. So you start with the idea stage. When you start with the idea stage, you make the executive summary. You think about the product. But for them, when you come to the team, you only think about this at the end. Okay? It's just to help you to not have to think about everything at the same time. But some things like marketing, distribution, you have to think about the whole time. So this is not just when you write down the business plan, but this is also when you start your business and your business is actually running already. Yeah, I mean, first you start very little, and then it's developing, and then it really grows, and these are the different steps you have to think about. And financial planning comes only at the end. So this is very interesting, because most of us, when we have an idea, we always think first about the money. You don't have to think first about the money. The money comes at the end. If you have a great idea, and if it's workable, the money will come somehow. And you will find ways to get the money. So don't make the mistake to think immediately about the money. Okay? Okay, and then you have, of course, later on, you have to write about that as well, and you have to think about it, the regulatory requirements, you have to register your business. I mean, this depends on your countries. In some countries it's easy, it can take 2-3 days. In other countries it can take 1 year until you have the license, or even longer, or you never get it. But you have to think about it. And also the employees, premises, and so on. Just practical things. Now, financial planning and pricing. You plan to stay in the business, to get into the business and to keep staying there. And you have to generate enough cash to pay the bills. And then you focus on cash first, on the money first you have in your pocket, and then the profit comes later at the end. Okay? So first you try to break even. Break even means plus minus 0. That's already great if you reach that. Making money comes later. And then you have to make short, medium, and long-term financial goals. So 3 basic tools in financial planning. It's a cash flow statement, the money which comes in and out at a certain time, the income statement, and the balance sheet. Okay, I'll give you some example. So this is a cash flow statement. You can see the money which comes in, the receipts, and then you see that down there, disbursements, I mean what goes out, salary, rent, legal, debt, and so on.